The history of the Byzantine Empire is often overshadowed by the Western Roman Empire, yet among the small but illustrious order of truly notable Byzantine rulers, alongside such great figures as Justinian, Constantine, and Heraclius, stands possibly the greatest ruler of the medieval age, Basil II. Welcome to a video on the eventful life and magnificent deeds of Basil II. Basil was born in the year 958. He was the son of Romanos II and Theophano, a poor waitress from Sparta. Young Basil was crowned co-emperor alongside his brother Constantine at the age of 2, but he suddenly lost his father at the age of 5. Theophano then married one of Byzantium's greatest generals, Nicephorus Phocas. Nicephorus' reign, despite all of the military successes, would end shortly due to his inability to manage the emperor's finances. After his assassination in December 969, Theophano remarried. This time the cousin of Nicephorus and one of the conspirators, John Zimisces. Zimisces would also prove himself a capable commander in battle, as his campaigns against the Arabs in the Middle East and the Slavs in the Balkans bring much glory to the empire. But after a successful campaign in Syria, he was poisoned, fell ill, and later died. The sword that fell from the hands of Zimisces will be picked up by Basil, who as a warrior would far surpass his predecessors. Being only 18 years old when he was crowned emperor under the name Basil II, he had already shown the basic virtues of his character, which was straight, shrewd, and very active. As far as I have known, Basil never married. This was a strange emperor from whom at least a successor was expected. He avoided not only women but also excessive eating and drinking. These habits helped him a lot, as quite often he was forced to fight to keep his throne, due to the old Byzantine tradition dating back to Roman times. The army was always ready to overthrow a young or weak emperor and replace him with a popular and experienced general. Basil knew well that he had to work hard to keep the Macedonian royal house alive. His first enemy was his grandfather's illegitimate brother, Basil Lecapenus. This man had been used to wielding backroom power during the reigns of Nicephorus and John, and was unwilling to lose it to an 18-year-old. At the same time, another man that had served under Zimisces would try to claim the purple throne. Bardas Skleros, having military experience from the times of Nicephorus Phocas, would be Basil's first threat. Skleros quickly started a revolt in the eastern provinces, and marched towards the Bosphorus, expecting Basil to abdicate. But the young man did not surrender, mainly because Lecapenus didn't want Skleros to interfere with his politics. Basil was able to send his navy to defeat Skleros' ships in the Golden Horn, as well as to request the services of another reliable general, Bardas Phocas. This officer, who had been languishing in monastery on Chios since he had made the first attempt to overthrow Zimisces, took back his armor and was assigned as Domesticos of the East, and sent to Caesarea to organize an army loyal to the Macedonian dynasty. A 3-year civil war ensued, with neither side gaining any real advantage on the battlefield. At one time, Phocas had challenged Skleros in a duel to decide the fate of the war. Skleros accepted on a sunny day of 979. The two generals, surrounded by the armies, went on a deadly duel. Skleros quickly got the upper hand by cutting the ear off Phocas' horse. Before Skleros could react, Phocas took out his sword and wounded him, and forced him to return to his camp. Skleros survived and fled to the Arab states in the east. The civil war between Phocas and Skleros had left the Balkan frontier unmanned, and the Bulgarians took advantage of it. Samuel, the new Tsar of Bulgaria, dreamed of conquering and unifying the entire Balkan peninsula up to the Peloponnese under Bulgarian rule. No one could have predicted how long this final encounter with the Bulgarians would last. It began with a wave of aggression, with the Bulgarian army sweeping down to the Peloponnesos, from the Adriatic to the Aegean, from Ambracia to Thermopylae. In the east, the armies of Samuel raided the entirety of Greece, taking village after village and bringing the captives back to Bulgaria as slaves, changing the ethnic character of the Greeks in the mainland country. The largest city in central Greece, Larissa, was besieged for 3 years until its inhabitants was forced to resort to cannibalism, and those who survived were sold as slaves. This livestock drove Basil to personally lead an imperial army to strike the Bulgarian kingdom at its heart and to have the Bulgarians abandon their camping in Greece. Basil was within shooting distance of the city when he decided to wait for the rearguard. This proved fatal. The delay gave Samuel time to hurry and take up position in the mountains around a place called Trajan's Gate near the Byzantine camp. For several weeks, the Byzantine suffered in the heat from repelling enemy raids and exhausting the supplies. And so on August the 17th, the emperor ordered a retreat through the straits. During the retreat, his army fell into a carefully prepared Bulgarian ambush. The loss of this was terrible. Basil had a handful of troops remained and returned to Constantinople. The emperor intensively analysed his failure for a long time, but he took as a useful lesson and vowed that the next time he faced the Bulgarians, he would be much better prepared. Development in one area often triggers another development elsewhere. Living an oriental life in Baghdad, Byzantium was informed about the catastrophe of Basil, and he believed that the time had come for his own glory.